Good evening, good neighbors. Thank you for coming out, everybody. We don't want to be here tonight, right? But we're here and we're going to keep coming. We're specifically here tonight. First of all, my name is Seamus Gallivan, co-founder of Slow Roll Buffalo. Thank you to the media for coming out as well. We have 4 speakers here before we get to marching. We are going to keep it relatively brief to get some daylight here. Again, we don't want to be here though. Thursday night in pandemic times is usually the virtual slow roll where we show our Monday's route, our Breaking Barriers ride, and the work we were doing with the young men of color in the 14215 zip code. But that has been interrupted. Interruptions upon interruptions this year. One of our own, one of our board members, one of our leading volunteers since the start of Slow Roll, one of the people who shows up as much as anyone in this city and speaks out for things that they believe in, Karen Huffman. Yeah, that's why we're here tonight. Now we're not, at Karen's request, we're not going to make a hero out of Karen, right? Right. She was here last night for Breonna Taylor. That's why a lot of people were here tonight, right? Last night, gonna keep coming. Last night, Karen and I and a few others from Slow Roll Squad were riding the route for this coming Monday. When we finished that, even though there was uncertainty about what was going to go down here in the square, she came down here to protect the march, to protect the First Amendment rights. Standing right there, behind us, behind y'all, in Niagara Square, with traffic control, a motorist suddenly revved up and rammed through. And our beloved Karen is at ECMC with broken bones, but with great spirits. And I gotta give some props to the folks at ECMC because, man, she's a flight risk. If they don't hold her down, she'll be here. We know they're caring well for her. She puts the care in Karen, isn't that right, Thea? She really cares, right? And we know that she's getting good care there. You know why we know? Because she was already there a few weeks ago getting hit by a car. This is the second time in 3 weeks Karen's been hit by a car. She's there with her surgeon who gave a double hip replacement a couple years ago. She was back on her bike a lot sooner than the rest of us probably would be. Karen is fierce. She doesn't want to be a hero. She wants us to keep our eyes on the prize. So she can't show up for herself tonight, but we're showing up here for her. And we're going to keep our eyes on the issues that we've been showing up here for. So why does Karen show up for Slow Roll? Well, we have one of the most segregated cities in America. She shows up to try to make connections, authentic connections throughout our city. She shows up to combat car culture. The idea that streets are for cars. We know streets are for people, right? Karen shows up for that. And a lot of folks think Slow Roll is just a joyride. Well, they see that in Karen because she exudes the joy. Karen has the joy. They see that in her. A lot of folks know Slow Roll has become too many a force for change, for speaking out, for bridging divides. Karen shows up for that too. She shows up not just on Mondays, not just on the rides throughout the week talking to people along the route. She shows up on Saturday at the East Side Bike Club. She shows up on Thursday when they ride. She keeps showing up. She's recognized as a force for change, a force to be reckoned with. Also, a lot of folks see Slow Roll as simply something that blocks traffic. And as is now national news, Karen blocks traffic. The great Dan Rather said that Americans will tolerate anything provided it does not block traffic. Slow Roll knows that, right? So Karen's seen it. she still shows up. She's been on that line with a driver staring her down, revving up, making all kinds of noise. She stays put. Well, Americans may tolerate anything provided it does not block traffic, but we're out here because we find the dominance of cars in our culture, the destruction of our communities for the sake of faster commute time to be intolerable. Karen showed up here for Breonna Taylor last night because she feels that the systematic oppression of people of color is intolerable. And Karen has been showing up over on Genesee and Hatch, where Willie Henley was shot a couple weeks ago, out of a belief that is widely shared that aggressive, oppressive policing and the pitiful policies that protect it are intolerable. So we show up for Karen tonight because Karen shows up for that. And we're going to keep showing up for it, and we're going to march tonight for those reasons. But before we do, I want to introduce from Go Bike Buffalo, Rebecca Riley.
Gotta say, first of all, this is community. You showed up. That's what community is about, showing up. Showing up for India and her causes, showing up for Seamus and his causes, showing up for Diane Britton and her causes. We show up for each other, right? That's what Karen does. She shows up for everything. Everything that's important, everything that makes a difference. She's always there. When we had, Queen City Couriers was going this winter, delivering groceries to people all over Western New York, or like around Buffalo, by bicycle. Hundreds and hundreds of pounds of groceries to every corner of the city. Karen came out in the cold, Karen came out in the warm, Karen came out in the rain. She worked hard. And on Easter, she said, didn't you have a couple more? I was going to close it up. And she said, you got like 3 more. I said, yeah. Well, I have to take those. We can't have those people go without Easter. That's Karen. Some people think they get behind the wheel of a truck with a Hemi engine, that gives them more rights. Might does not make right. With great horsepower comes great responsibility. You can't get community when you're sealed off in a car, but you can on a bike. We can all have our separate views. We can respect each other and our differences of opinion. But community is about just realizing, I'm not here, I make no difference at all if it's not for you. So thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Rebecca. Next up, one of the first people who was at Karen's side last night, right there in the street, when she was run over by a driver. From the Allies for Black Justice, Coalition for Economic Justice's Be True, Buffalo Transit Riders United, Diane Britton.
Hey everybody. So we've been out here for a long time, since March, and last night we watched somebody who's absolutely an amazing woman, right? I know her as a friend and as a protector of us marchers and protesters when we're out here marching, and I know her as the warrior that she is, and the fact that I know that she'll be out here in a wheelchair or crutches in no time, if that's what she has to do, or driving, that's just who she is. And the last thing she wants us to do is to stop, and she wants us to keep taking the streets, and they want us to leave, and that's why we can't. So in honor of Karen and all of us that keep doing this, that keep showing up every day, you have to keep doing this, and you have to keep showing up every day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diane. Next, I'd like to introduce no stranger to anyone who's been showing up at gatherings like this, Slow Roll Buffalo board member and executive director of the Fruit Belt Community Land Trust, India Wald.
Good evening, y'all. I think that I share in the sentiments of most people, and I think that we've said this time after time again, we don't want to be here. We have better things to do. We have families, we have jobs, we have things that we could be paying more attention to than this. Karen Huffman is my friend. She's not just a fellow board member of Slow Roll. She's not just a person who I see on the front lines day after day after day after day. When I show up, Karen is always there. And even on days that I don't show up, we're texting and she's like, hey, what about this thing? And I'm like, I'm not gonna make it. And she's like, well, I'll be there to represent us. And I'm like, okay, I'll be there with you in spirit. Karen continues to show up. And I spoke to her today and she said, please keep the focus on what we're fighting for. I don't want to be made a hero. But I'm here to tell you all today that Karen is my hero. Karen is a person who has put her body and her physical safety on the line for us day after day, night after night. And what happened last night really disturbed me. And what I'm most concerned about is that no justice has been exacted, right? I wonder if the people in the comments on the news knew if Karen was a middle-aged white woman, if their opinions were changed about who she was, but because she was labeled a protester, if there's less empathy and care for her. But I think that all of us are gathered tonight in proof that there are many people who care about Karen. We don't care about what the people in the comments say. We know who Karen is, and we care about Karen. And we appreciate her selflessness, the work that she has done for us. When COVID started, before the George Floyd protest, the mic is, listen, I can't do it, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Before the protest, when people needed food in the fruit belt, and I called Karen, Karen came on her bike. She came and did outreach. She came and delivered food to people in need. This is greater than anything. Like, racial justice has everything to do with food justice, with housing justice, with the criminal legal system. We need to be out here demanding justice for our friends and our comrade and our ally, but also for Breonna Taylor, but also for George Floyd, and also we need a fucking grocery store on the east side of Buffalo. All of these things matter. At 5 o'clock this morning, the first thing I saw was Karen. I'm all right, y'all. A little bit bumped and bruised, but I can't wait to get back out here. Black Lives Matter. And in honor of our sister, that is exactly what we intend to do tonight. We are marching because Black Lives Matter. Because Karen lives matter. Because Karen's life matters. We got a lot of work to do. This is only the beginning. But I'm here to tell you, those of us who are working and on the front lines are not tired. It's hard work and we're not tired. This is only the beginning. And we will not stop. We will not sleep until we get justice. Let's go.
Thank you all for coming. Cyclists who want to protect protect the march. Get out ahead to the far side of the square. People who want to march for Karen, for Breonna Taylor, and for Willie Henley, follow us this way. Thank you all for coming.
Walk like John Williams, WALTON. So, I ain't my friend from Karen.
I said it won't be because it's the next day, but I just don't know what to do.
Hey. How are you? What's going on back there?
What up, Mike?
I don't, but it seems like slow roll.
Let's go with it.
I don't know.
We were able to find us. We can do this while we walk too. It's a multitask. What's that? Not good. How are you?
All right, everyone start to move.
We're watching 75 different versions of the video.
That's I can't give out the exact points.
They likely won't tell. Broadway where the... Oh, I thought they had a plan to march.